Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're taking a look at the most recent single from the American metalcore band The Devil Wears Prada titled Reaching. This track will feature on their upcoming deluxe version of their most recent album Color Decay, and this is the first time in the band's career they've been able to release a deluxe version of an album. They felt there was something extra to give, some from acoustic versions and a couple of other singles including this one that they didn't get to put on the album but felt would be quite fitting to release a deluxe version. And sometimes the bands do have great ideas that just never quite make the cut, and they want to avoid over bloating an album, making it too long, and the album certainly was very strong on its release. So great to see that we're still getting trekked to some of these other tracks and certainly getting music videos to go alongside them as well at the same time. So will this latest track be reaching for the stars or reaching its hand a little bit too deep into the cookie jar? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. Okay, I really like the drumming that we've got from Giuseppe here in this first verse. It really adds a quick dotted pace just to the start of the track. It really kicks it off on the right foot, gives it a great energy. Same for the bass as well, has that exact same effect, especially when mixed with Mike's more aggressive, screamy vocals that we have got going on. It really keeps this track very energetic, and I feel like that's what it wants to do with this idea of reaching. And the band did show a very interesting mix of styles on Color Decay. They did have some slower tracks as well as some that were slightly more fast-paced, and I also love with the lyrics, there's certainly straight from the beginning we get this idea of out on my own, no microphone, this idea I have no voice almost, and this idea but I'm still reaching, even though I'm in a struggling place, I'm still trying to reach out. All this idea of reaching out for help, being in a dark place. So it's something that the band have often kind of covered with songs such as Cancer on Color Decay, so it seems like they're really continuing that trend with this. And I like the layering the vocals with the being a waste of time, and this idea of taking the time to consider, so having that reflective time. So we're seeing through the first two verses this idea of this negative headspace, or trying to reach out and get help for when you are struggling or you are feeling anxious. On my own, but I'm still reaching. Spare your preaching. Can't act like I'll take it back. Force the hand, watch the concrete. Watch as it cracks. Okay, in the actual chorus, I really like that they're switching back to Jeremy, really showing this transition between the two, and then letting Mike get involved halfway through. It is something the band have really grown with, especially also with Jonathan also kind of tipping his hat in, throwing his hat in the ring every so often to add these backing vocals, and kind of I think most of the band members at some point do tend to do so. But I like this constantly changing vocal style that they have got, really mixing it up and really mixing the pace up, but they're also using the drums to again keep this solid pace for this track, because when you're switching vocal styles between different vocalists you can kind of see the switch in style, but the drums really just keep everything in the same pace, keep it all aligned and stop it from really flaying off into different sort of paces, different directions. So what's it like being right? We know that it can all be true, but then I still rock and blow. When will you start listening? It's like we are singing such time. Okay, I really like that lyric. It's like rehearsing exhaustion. It's this idea of doing the same thing over and over again. You feel exhausted, but you don't break the cycle because you rehearse it. That's such a smart and simple lyric that really does add a lot of punch to the meaning of this track. I really do like that. This idea of just constantly rehearsing the same thing over and over again. And a rehearsal's never a final thing because it's almost like this build up, this lead up. So very smart choice of lyrics for that particular section. And this idea of when will you start listening, they're making it really expansive and kind of throwing it out almost to an audience, to a listener, trying to reach out to people, hence the title Reaching. It all fits together very, very nicely. I like this questioning attitude, and they're keeping it personal with a lot of I, you, and my own almost. So a lot of these lyrics really just kind of trying to make it very personal but show that they're reaching out that hand to help others.
On my own, but I'm still reaching.
Okay, I really like some more of these lyrics that we have got being brought in. Just another one being dramatic, pretend moody, cinematic. This idea again of authenticity and also not seeing the signs. Often it can be a case of somebody, you don't see the signs with somebody until it's too late. And I love that. Play it back, what was on those tapes. This idea of going back and looking, see, you should have seen the signs earlier that somebody was struggling, that someone was going through a difficult time. So I like that they're throwing in lots of these metaphoric lyrics that really tie back to this idea they're trying to heavily convey through the use of the lyrics. It's very smart how they've kind of wrapped it up in very accessible ways without making it too complicated. And that's something the band have always really been able to do, certainly very much with Color Decay. It's really shown through this album, and I just love the way these lyrics are tying together, as well as some of the switching in vocals. It really is quite smart how they've continued to build on this strong element and thrown it into more and more tracks.
But I'm still reaching.
Okay, I really liked the little breakdown we did have towards the end of the track. I also love the fact that the last lyric is play it back, play it back. The idea of go straight back to the beginning, look for those clues early on from the start of the track, and it's going back to that idea of trying to see the signs when somebody is struggling. So I love that, just that last little flourish at the end of the track, really making it a cycle, looping it back on itself. So that was really smart. I don't feel it was probably as strong as many of the tracks on Color Decay, just as an overall track. I can see why it was not kind of included, but it's a great track to include on the deluxe edition to give fans more of what they love, and it still is a very strong track. I love the switching of the vocals throughout the chorus. It has a really strong hook coming in when Jeremy's delivering those vocals as well, so that's really great to see. And I also like some of the drums. The drums were the really catchy point of this. They're really opening the track, really helping Mike keep a strong pace on his vocal delivery when he's kind of giving those more aggressive aggressive tones. So overall, I did feel it was a very strong track, but just didn't live up to quite the same power as some of the tracks we did see on Color Decay. But I'm certainly very excited that it is going to be getting featured on the deluxe version. I think it will prove as a great addition alongside many of the acoustic tracks and the other elements we will get to see on that release, which does come out on May 2nd. So that will be everything for today's video. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts about this particular track in the comments section below. I would certainly love to hear your thoughts, and if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.